river was not supposed to end there. Caleb knew this because he had grown up fishing its bends, swimming its shallows, memorizing every curve the water carved into the land. Rivers did not simply stop. They narrowed, they widened, they bent, but they always went somewhere. Yet here it was, ending. Caleb stood at the riverbank just before dusk, boots sinking slightly into damp soil. The water ahead of him slowed, then stilled, then vanished into the ground as if swallowed whole. No waterfall, no underground channel, just wet earth and silence. The forest around him was quiet in a way that felt deliberate. No birds, no insects, no wind through the trees, only the soft sound of water behind him, still flowing normally, until it reached the place where it was no longer allowed to exist. Caleb checked his watch. 6:18 p.m. He had been hiking for hours, following an old trail he barely remembered. The map on his phone showed the river continuing another 7 miles. The map was wrong. He crouched and touched the soil where the river disappeared. Warm, not sun-warmed, body warm. Caleb pulled his hand back. That was when he noticed the footprints. They were pressed into the mud along the river's edge, bare feet, adult-sized, leading toward the ending, not away from it. He counted without meaning to. 1 set, 2, 3, then dozens, all facing the same direction, all stopping where the water stopped. A low unease settled into his chest. "Hello?" he called out. His voice did not echo. It simply died. Behind him, the forest shifted. Caleb turned slowly. Someone stood between the trees. A man. Tall, thin, too still. He wore dark clothes soaked from the knees down, as if he had been standing in water for a very long time. His hair hung wet against his face. His eyes reflected no light. Caleb swallowed. "Did you come from town?" he asked. The man didn't move. "I think the river's blocked," Caleb continued, forcing his voice steady. "Might be dangerous." The man tilted his head slightly. Then he spoke. "You're late." The words landed wrong. Not angry, not accusing, certain. "I don't think so," Caleb said. "I was just hiking." The man took 1 step forward. The forest seemed to lean away from him. "You were supposed to arrive before it finished," the man said. Caleb's pulse quickened. "Finished what?" The man gestured toward the river's end. "It?" A distant sound rolled through the trees. Not thunder, breathing, deep, slow, massive. Caleb backed away. "What is this place?" he asked. The man smiled, and Caleb understood immediately that the smile did not belong to a human being. "This is where things come," the man said softly, "when they have nowhere else to go." The breathing grew louder. The ground trembled faintly beneath Caleb's boots. He turned and ran. The forest did not behave like a forest anymore. The trees stretched unnaturally high, their branches twisting inward like ribs. The trail he had followed vanished beneath his feet, replaced by thick roots that shifted as he stepped on them. The sound followed him, breathing, closer now. Caleb burst into a clearing and skidded to a stop. The river reappeared, flowing normally. Relief surged through him. He stumbled toward it and froze. Standing ankle-deep in the water was the man, waiting. "You can't leave," the man said calmly. "Not once you've seen where it ends." Caleb shook his head. "This isn't real." The man's gaze softened. "That's what the river said too." The water around the man's legs darkened. It began moving backward, flowing upstream. Caleb's stomach dropped. The river was retreating, being pulled. The man extended his hand. "Come see," he said. "It doesn't hurt anymore." Caleb stepped back. "No." The breathing became a roar. The forest bent inward. The river surged violently past Caleb, rushing toward the place where it ended, toward the mouth in the earth that now yawned wide open. Caleb saw it then, not a hole, a presence, vast, waiting. The man's skin began to crack, water seeping through his pores. "I was like you," he said. "I asked too many questions." The river tore itself from its banks, pouring into the opening. Trees toppled. The ground split. Caleb screamed as the force dragged him forward. He grabbed a root, clinging desperately as water and debris rushed past him into the impossible dark. The man stepped backward willingly, smiling. "I'll see you again," he said. Then he was gone, pulled into the ending. The breathing slowed. The forest stilled. The river resumed its flow, as if nothing had happened. Caleb woke on the riverbank at dawn. Sunlight filtered gently through the trees. Birds chirped. Insects hummed. The forest was normal. The river flowed peacefully beside him. He laughed weakly, shaking with relief. A nightmare. Just exhaustion. He stood, brushing dirt from his clothes. Something tugged at his boot. Caleb looked down. His footprints, bare, wet, leading toward the river's end. And beside them, another set, facing the opposite direction, waiting. Far downstream, the water began to slow. Caleb did not move for a long time. The forest felt different now, not hostile, but alert, as if it were watching him the way a body watches a wound, waiting to see whether it will reopen. He followed the river downstream. Each step felt heavier than the last. His boots squelched softly against the damp soil, though the ground ahead looked dry. When he glanced down, he saw faint, wet footprints forming behind him. Bare footprints. Not his. He stopped. The prints stopped too. Caleb's breathing grew shallow. Slowly he turned. No one stood behind him. The forest was empty. He forced himself to keep walking. The river sounded wrong now, still flowing forward, but uneven. Its surface rippled in places where there was no wind. Small circular disturbances appearing and vanishing, as though something beneath the water was testing the surface. Caleb tried to recall the man's face. The more he focused, the less certain he became. Hair color blurred, eye shape dissolved. Even the sound of the voice slipped through his memory like water through fingers. Only the smile remained, and the certainty behind it. "I'll see you again." The trail curved sharply and opened into a wider stretch of land. Caleb slowed when he saw what waited there. The riverbank was lined with objects, shoes, backpacks, watches, torn jackets, all abandoned. Some looked decades old, others disturbingly new. He recognized one of the backpacks, blue canvas, frayed strap, a small stitch patch on the side. His! He staggered back, heart hammering. "That's not possible," he whispered. The pack lay half buried near the water's edge, soaked and heavy. When he touched it, water poured out. Not river water, but dark and cold, carrying the faint metallic scent of blood. Caleb recoiled. A sound rose behind him. Soft footsteps, bare feet on mud. "You found the shoreline." The voice was behind him now. Caleb turned slowly. The man stood a few steps away, no longer soaked, no longer cracked, dry, whole, almost human. "You left this," the man said gently, nodding toward the backpack. "I've never been here before," Caleb said. The man smiled again. "Yes," he said, "you have." The forest dimmed, not darkened, thinned. Caleb felt pressure in his ears like descending underwater. "You come here every time the river forgets where it's going." the man continued. Every time it needs reminding. I don't understand. You don't need to, the man replied. You just need to stand where it ends. The ground beneath Caleb's feet softened. Not mud, flesh, warm, subtle, alive. Caleb screamed and stumbled back, falling hard against the earth. The soil rippled where he landed, rising and falling slowly, breathing. He scrambled upright, terror clawing through his chest. This place feeds on memory, the man said calmly. It takes paths that don't lead anywhere anymore, people who were already drifting. Caleb shook his head. No, I have a life. The man's expression softened. So did I. The river began to slow again. Not stop, hesitate. Water pooled unnaturally, swirling inward toward a forming depression in the riverbed. The breathing returned. Deeper than before, closer. Caleb backed away, feet slipping. What happens if I leave? He shouted. The man's smile faded. That's the problem, he said. You don't. The river split open, not violently, gently, as if opening its mouth. Caleb felt the pull immediately, his memories tugging at him more than his body. Childhood summers by the water, skipped stones, the first time he almost drowned. The river remembered him. The man stepped aside. Stand there, he said, pointing to the place where the water vanished. Just for a moment. Caleb's legs trembled. No. The forest leaned inward. The river surged. Caleb was lifted off his feet, dragged forward by unseen force. His fingers clawed at the earth, tearing through grass and roots as he screamed. He was pulled to the edge. The opening beneath the river pulsed, waiting. The man crouched beside him. Every ending needs a witness, he whispered, and every witness eventually stays. Caleb's vision blurred, the world tilted, and then silence. The hikers found the river normal the next afternoon, clear, calm, unbroken. They noticed the abandoned items along the bank and reported them, but nothing was ever found. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just water, flowing. Deep beneath the surface, something exhales slowly. And upstream, far beyond where maps still made sense, a man stood barefoot in the mud, waiting,